we're going to be discussing today entrepreneurship. And of course, we have our amazing guest, Ousainou Dambell.
I'm a big fan. My name is Ousainou Dambell. I run a business called DBC. We are into promotional printing and advertising. I've been running this business almost all my life, half of my life, and I've got a good team, and we've made ourselves a household name in Gambia, in the area of printing.
So humbled that you're here, but if anything, we're very inspired. You've managed to make it in Africa, inside Gambia, with the business that you're doing. And you're a great entrepreneur, obviously, but I think it did start from your dad. Your dad also ran a really big business in Gambia when I was growing up. If you all remember, sisters, I think we all knew his dad and the business he owned. Can you tell us just a little bit about that?
It runs in the family. My dad also, was a household name, Mansong photos, a lot of people know him. He took beautiful photos, he sold Gambia with postcards and all of those stuff. So coming up from that environment also, it built us up on what we would want to do in the future. Then we got into print as well and just, took the next level, if you like.
Yes, I think that's really incredible. I think we all kind of learned something from our parents growing up, whether we know it or not. Subconsciously, it always happens. So we're very happy and proud of you. So keep rocking. We will start this conversation now. What does it mean to be an entrepreneur? Because I know most of us from Africa, it's a means of survival, right? So when we talk about entrepreneurship, people don't really look at it as a career per se. They just look at it as it's a means of survival. You just do raba raba, right? In Gambia, they say raba raba, just to survive, just to make it to the next stage.
Entrepreneurship is that's the lifeblood for anybody willing to survive in this world today. Everybody's an entrepreneur. And what happens is you look at opportunities that are available out there that people are not tapping, and you kind of get into it and make sure you package it well. You have to have the zeal, the desire, turning dreams to reality. That's what entrepreneurship is all about. In Africa, this part of the world that we're in, we know how it's difficult to find employment and so forth. So you kind of create your own job. And in the process of, trying to get yourself employed, in the process, you get other people employed too, because you're offering services and your business grows from there on and so forth. So it's more of a way of life in Africa to be an entrepreneur.
When I think of entrepreneurship, it's more of creating a business, kind of like what Oz said, in terms of trying to find solution to a problem, right? Anytime you're trying to create a business, you have to have a need for it. So that's one thing. But to me, the most critical thing is also making sure it's profitable in terms of like whatever you do, trying to figure out like ways of, okay, you're going to get something out of it. It has to be profitable. In Africa, a lot of people tend to find problem exists and they try to find a solution. But especially with the young generations now, I think what we found is a lot of people just tend to get into the business just for they think that there's like a quick shortcut or quick way of making money. And I think a lot of people too also go into it without doing like all the due diligence, just to make a quick bucks or just to make a quick means in terms of like their surviving.
Okay, when you go into business, yes, you do have to make profit, but what comes in first? What about the passion, right? Because I feel like a lot of Africans also, a lot of us forget about that, right? That drives you, no matter the profit or not, but then balancing it out to make sure that profit comes also.
Indeed. The passion is everything. I'll just give you an example, yeah? Not too long ago, everybody was investing into transport business in Gambia. That is the Benz 200s and so forth. So everybody just invested in that. Down the line, what really happened, because people did not know how to go about things and so forth, so everybody was just rushing in. Eventually, we got the streets or the roads all overcrowded with those taxis and so forth. So nobody became a winner. So we have to stop the idea of following, other people's innovations or their dreams, their journey, because everybody has something different. We have to dare to innovate, come differently, Then with that, you stand unique and your business would strive. But most of the times they see a business doing well and everybody jumps on it and eventually that opportunity, would be trashed again, then we'll have to start again, all over again, and so forth. So I don't know, how do we encourage people, be very innovative, inspire, come up with great ideas and solve problems. We need an army of entrepreneurs that will come with various ideas, and that's what's going to develop Africa and our livelihoods as well.
I agree with you 110%. Like, I was just nodding when you were speaking. I lived in Gambia, okay, until my adulthood before I moved to America. And I've seen it happen. And we see it happen every single day. Everyone just wants to tap into the same exact field. The number one key, you have to find out, what am I passionate about, okay? I could be passionate about selling rocks. I could be passionate about cleaning buckets or cleaning cars. And when you actually start with what am I passionate about, it leads you to become successful. I am a makeup artist. I work in the beauty industry. Now, if I was not passionate about this and you just want to push me to get a job into it, I would not succeed. I would fail at some point. And once you're passionate, then your mind keeps working and charging, and you will always be able to bring something different. But if you're not passionate about something and you're just doing it for the money, then you tend to fail a lot faster.
It's very inspirational to just watch someone like you that never left the Gambia, okay, and build what you've built to become who you are today. That's very important for the young people that are out there, that are in Africa, that think you have to leave Africa in order to be successful. I think we had a show where I think it was Amy that said, no matter where you are, if you don't have the passion for what you do, you would never be successful, even if you leave Africa and you're in the US. So it's all about the passion, number one, because it's almost like a story. Like you say, it's a way of life.
You guys know I'm driven by passion, but at the same time, right, we have to be also practical. So where do we draw the line? Like Ole was saying, to be profitable as a business owner, right? As an entrepreneur, to draw the line and say, this is my passion. When it's not profitable, what do I do? And so on. So what do you guys have to say about that? When people are in a line of business that they're really truly passionate about, right? They follow their passion, but the profit isn't there.
What happens is the consistency. Most of the times people would start business and eventually just give up. And giving up, what happens is it's not going to come easy. Sometimes, a lot of hurdles will be on your way and so forth, but you always need to continue. You have to have that endurance to continue, with the struggle until things happen, the patience, because up till today, it's never easy. Things that you would want to happen and so forth, things would go bad. Just the other day we had some issues with the lightning and some machines were down, but that doesn't kill you. You continue striving, It's just like riding a bike. Whenever you stop moving in business, that's when you fall. You keep going, You never stop, with the struggle. That's what it gets you where you want to get to.
Oz has been a businessman for a long, long time, right? So he understands like sustainability, like that there's going to be ups and downs, etc. But not just in Africa, but even in the US, right? We've seen a lot of it's very, very easy to start a business, right? You could literally just say, okay, I'm gonna open whatever. There's a lot of upfront work that needs to go in before you even name the business or decide to open the business, which us as Africans, I feel like kind of like alluding to what Oz has stated before. It's okay, one person is doing this and we have like no idea like how that person got in there. But just because I say, oh, Oz is, I don't know, selling taxis, or Oz has a tailor, and every time I go there, I see a lot of people, we think that, oh, that business is profitable, so that's the business that we need to go. So I think as Africans, we need to shift our mindset from just following the herd, but it's like, okay, there's so many opportunities, there's so many issues to solve. So maybe it's kind of like just going back and figuring out, okay, what are some of the ideas that are out there that people have a need?
You made a good point, but let's say if my passion is also printing, and Oz's passion is printing, Jay's passion is printing. So what do I have to do if I'm the one coming in last, right? Because just because the market is saturated doesn't mean that I can't come in. But what can I do differently, right, to penetrate the market?
you may have a passion for printing, but don't go and do the exact same thing. There's maybe like a gap, right? And you can actually maybe collaborate with Ouse in different ways. You don't have to go into printing. It may be you actually the one that's going to order the inks that Ouse is going to use to print.
The lack of organization and collaboration. So I think as Africans, the first thing we can do is not see Ouse as an opposition or see Ouse as a competition. We should see Ouse as someone that we can learn from and find out the gaps that are there within the printing system that we can help Ouse succeed and myself succeed at the same time. So just because we have the same passion, that doesn't mean we have to do exactly the same thing. We should have open minds where we are willing to even collaborate.
Again, it comes back to passion. It's always gonna come back to passion. Once you're passionate about something, then you understand the business. And then if I have 20 people doing the same business, then my job here is to say, okay, this is what I'm passionate about, and this is exactly what I want to do, but what's missing?
That's what the market research.
What can I do different to stand out? Because you see, I could be the last person to come and start this business, but if I do my market research very well and understand the business, then that brings me into actually becoming even more successful probably than everyone else that came before me, because I have done my due diligence. I have done the research that I need to do, and I am coming with something different. I cannot just copy and paste every single thing that's already in the market. If we use a country like Gambia, it's a 2 million population. The Greater Banjul area is your only market, realistically, because the people, if you go past Bilkama going down, how many people are going to come in for your business, right? Let's say I had a fashion shop, right? And there are 50 other fashion shops. 90% of my clients are from the Greater Banjul area, and each other person's family is 20%, and they're all going to support their family members. Now, where is your business? So you have to figure out what's missing in this business. Do your market research. What can I bring in that's different? That when I come, I'm going to stand out and I'm going to make a huge difference in this business, in this market, right? You have to find out what can you do different. Even if I was to sell pancakes right now, I want to come and sell pancakes, but I want to make sure that these pancakes are going to basically change your life. It could be from your customer service, right? It could be from the way you serve the pancake, like your market, like your packaging, branding, and all these things. You just have to know exactly what you're going to do to stand out and be different in this.
So realistically speaking, do you think us as Africans, especially in Gambia, do they actually go and do market research before they actually go into a business? Because from my little experience that I have here with Africans that I've spoken to, the market research that they usually do, like when somebody tell me they want to open a business, and I ask like, oh, so how do you know that's going to be profitable? Usually they say, oh, such and such say that, oh, this is a great idea to do. Like,
I don't believe people do market research to that extent. And the research that normally would happen, like I said, it's like checking who is doing well in what areas and so. And that would be a lead for people to follow suit. You know, so that's what's been happening and so on. So by the time you follow those so-called people you think are going to be successful in their areas, probably they did their little research or whatever it is, then you would crash at some point because you have not done the research to know what is required, needed, and so forth. But when it comes to the research stuff, the same thing that we have been doing yesterday is the same thing that we would do today. Nobody would bother themselves to really innovate and do something different. Those are the challenges that we have. You know, so if you look at it today, the thinkers before, whatever they have set for us is what we are living by right now. So nothing is like, because if you check the West today and so on, you would see in every sector, you know, there's always innovation. People are coming up with new things every other time. And so, but here is the same thing. It doesn't change.
Company. I work for Christian Dior, right? And probably some of you guys know this, some of you guys probably don't, right? But you'll be amazed that every single time that you guys probably love a product from a brand, right? And all of a sudden they tell you that product is discontinued. We get upset, correct? But what companies are doing is that they know that times are changing and things are changing. So they have to go back and redo it again. And these are things that we don't do. When we sell groom soup, we sell groom soup in the piece of paper, and we sell it forever just like the same way. There is no
innovation.
There's no innovation going on to make sure that we're doing the right market research, knowing what the target client is wanting, what's different, what can I do to be different. Business is all about being different. I go to Sephora, I train, okay? How many different brands do you have inside Sephora? There is hundreds of different brands inside Sephora, and all these brands are multi-million-dollar, billion-dollar brands, right? And you wonder, how are they all in the same market, in the same store, and they're all making all this money? It's because every single day, each one of them is trying to know exactly what the other line is doing. What can I do better? And sometimes, if you look at the market, right? We just went through a season not too long ago, right? Every brand was coming out with foundations, and it almost feels like they talk about it, but because they're listening to what the client out there is wanting,
market research.
They're doing the market research, and then they're coming back and bringing it on. And everyone is doing different things, but it just shows you that once you do your market research, once you believe in actually innovating new things and making things different, you are going to set yourself apart from the rest of the world, and that's how you become more successful.
Definitely, we will bring up branding again when we talk about a business. I think it's really important. Of course, we couldn't fit everything on this segment, but I think it's really important to set yourself apart from everyone else. Now, we are saying all these things, and it's great. But also, I feel like as Africans, there are a lot of things that holds us back when we want to do business. For instance, capital, right? Some of us, when we invest in a business, if we have $20 or $100 and we start that business, even if we make $50 profit from that $100, so that's like what, 50%? You make your 50% profit, right? And then instead of taking your initial investment, the capital, to put it back in the business, you take that, because you take all of it, pretty much. Maybe $25 is what's going to be left to continue the business, and you take all of it to buy something else or to put it somewhere else.
Earlier talked about business in Africa is a way of life, is a survival. It's trying to find a solution to the problem that they have. They don't have jobs. So this is the only means that they have to survive and feed their family. So when you talk about entrepreneurship in Africa, it's not someone like us that has the problem sometimes, even though us may have a problem, but it's not the same as the average woman that carries a bucket on top of their head and try to sell what we used to call ice at home, or bui, or wanja.
I think I beg to differ. I think all business people, we have very similar problems.
Yes, they do have similar problems, but there's a different magnitude. Juka, when you started your business, you still had a little bit of income available to feed you, okay? But this person in Africa,
how you know that?
Just give me a minute. There's a whole bunch of a difference, Juka. When you look at this woman, that all they have is this $5, and they go and buy a bowl of kaba. It's a fruit back home, or mangoes. Their intention is to go sell that mango. When they're done selling the mango, then they can go buy some fish, some rice to go cook for their family. These people, their capital is also what they use as their profit, is also what they intend to feed their families off of.
And that's my point.
There you go. So you had a little bit of chicken change that you can call a capital. These people, their capital is their same capital that they expect to feed their family. So today they may have $10 that they go buy mangoes and sell it, and then use that same money that they earned. They don't even think about the capital anymore. They're just thinking about, what can I sell today to go feed my family?
I don't think what Jay is saying is actually a business, right? There's two different people here. There's someone who is actually getting into business, right? There's another person who's just trying to survive. These are two different people.
It's still business.
Well, so my point here is this, and this is why I brought up the capital situation. Okay, and it's not the same. It's not exactly the same for everyone. Sometimes maybe you might not be able to pay your rent, or you might not. You pay your rent, but then you might not be able to buy a few other things, maybe a new school outfit for your kids and stuff, right? But, or you make the choice and say, I'm going to take all the capital out and all the profit out and do these things and start from point A again and continue to sell the same ice. And this is the point why I brought that up. So even if you look at that person that's selling the ice, what is the solution there?
I think when we talk about business and what it means to be an entrepreneur, when you say you sacrifice, Juka, when we talk about Africa and poverty and what people go through to survive, and Oz may come into this and tell me if I'm wrong. I'm not looking at myself or Oz or you or Ole or...
I took myself out of the equation.
Whoever else has a little bit of chicken change, you don't have to have thousands of dollars. Even the person that thinks they're going into business as a means of solving their problem in terms of getting a job, okay? And they have a family to feed. When you say sacrifice, you cannot, as a parent, you cannot sit down and watch your kids cry for food and you're trying to save that money for capital. Okay. You absolutely can't.
So, what do you think about this?
This is what happens though, Juka. At every given point, everybody would raise a capital depending on what you want to do at what scale you would want to go. You know, probably when we started early and so forth, all we wanted was not much. We just wanted to scale from, you know, one point to the other. But today, probably the investment that you would want to do would be so much financially, it will have more financial appetite, if you like. And that's where you would have to engage the banks and all of those stuffs. And even going to the banks, they're also business people. If you're not careful, what happens is you help them to be successful to your own expense. You know, so with what Jay is saying, I think if you look at it, it's an organic growth for most businesses in Africa, where you would start very small. It's survival, it's feeding your family. You know, as you go on, probably you save extra money for another week of feeding. You know, you just as it goes until you can have a whole month of feeding, that kind of stuff and so on. Then you can expand your business. Then it becomes very sustainable and so on. I think that is the discipline element to all of this stuff that we are talking about right now. And the discipline is, how would I put it? The little that you have, you should be able to put it in the right investment, in the right. Sometimes you would have to even deter yourself. Those goodies, if you like, you know, you would have to say, no, we're not going to eat chicken, you know, probably for a whole month, or we'll eat once a month, that kind of stuff. All of that is to give you that discipline to build up, to move to the next level. And I think we celebrate too often, too quickly in Africa. You know, the little that we have, you eat everything and, you know, that's it, you start again. So you are always in that circle kind of thing and so on. So that probably would need to change at some point, where people would learn to scale the stairs a step after the other.
Correct me if I'm wrong. These are two different people. There is a person out there who is not looking for long-term success. This person is just trying to look to survive for today. And there's someone who actually is doing this because that's the only means of survival they have, and they actually are looking for long-term success. And this is who a business person is. Now, it depends on who this person is. Are you just here for the limited time, for the time being, or are you actually doing this because you actually see this as a career?